The darkness of space stretched endlessly before the human exploration vessel Pathfinder as it conducted its routine patrol near the outer edges of human-controlled space. Captain James Roberts stood at the bridge's main viewport, his weathered hands clasped behind his back as he watched the stars drift by. 20 years of deep space exploration had taught him to appreciate these quiet moments. The peace didn't last long. "Captain," called out Mike from the communication station, his voice cutting through the bridge's calm atmosphere. "We're picking up something strange. Well, sir, you need to hear this." Robert walked over to Mike's station, his boots making soft thuds against the metal floor. The young communications officer's fingers danced across his console, bringing up a visual representation of the signal. It wasn't like anything they'd seen before, a pattern too regular to be natural, too complex to be random space noise. "It's definitely artificial," Mike explained, adjusting his headset. "But it's not using any known human frequencies or protocols." "Sir, I think it might be aliens." The bridge crew fell silent. Humanity had always wondered about alien life, but in all their years of space exploration, they'd never made contact. Robert leaned closer to the display, studying the pulsing patterns with narrow eyes. "Can you clean it up?" he asked, keeping his voice steady despite the excitement building in his chest. Mike worked his controls, filtering out background noise. Slowly, the signal resolved into something clearer. And then, to everyone's surprise, it transformed into words they could understand. "This is Fleet Commander Vale of the Stellar Confederation. Our fleet is stranded in Sector 7 Alpha 9. All ships experiencing critical drive failures. Requesting immediate assistance from any vessels within range. Repeat." The message continued to loop, but Robert was already moving. "Plot a course to those coordinates," he ordered. "And get me Earth Command on the line. They'll want to know about this." The Pathfinder's engines hummed to life as they changed course. It took them 3 hours to reach the location, and what they found left them speechless. Hundreds of ships, each one massive and gleaming with advanced technology, hung motionless in space. Their designs were unlike anything humanity had ever seen. Smooth, organic curves that seemed to flow like liquid metal, with lights pulsing along their hulls in hypnotic patterns. "My God," whispered Robert. "Mike, open a channel." After a moment of adjustment, the main screen flickered to life, revealing a humanoid figure with silvery skin and eyes that seemed to shift color like oil on water. Fleet Commander Vale looked at them with what appeared to be both relief and confusion. "You received our distress call?" Vale asked, their voice carrying an odd musical quality. "But your vessel, it's so primitive." Robert straightened his uniform. "This is Captain James Robert of the Earth vessel Pathfinder. We stand ready to assist." Vale's color-shifting eyes narrowed. "Earth? You're humans?" There was something in their tone, disappointment perhaps. "We detect nuclear fusion drives and chemical thrusters on your ship. How did you even manage to receive our quantum-encrypted distress signal?" Mike spoke up from his station. "Sir, I think their surprise is because we're using technology they consider outdated by centuries." Robert nodded, understanding the situation. "Commander Vale, regardless of our technological level, we're here to help. Can you explain what happened to your fleet?" Vale's expression shifted through several colors before settling. "Our quantum drives began failing when we entered this region. All 342 ships, dead in space. Our best engineers can't explain it. Some kind of spatial anomaly is interfering with our quantum systems. Even our backup drives won't function." Robert exchanged looks with his crew. 342 ships full of aliens with failing life support systems. It was humanity's first contact with an advanced civilization, and they were in trouble. "Commander," Robert said, his voice firm and confident, "we may not have quantum drives, but we do have experience with unusual space phenomena. With your permission, we'd like to begin rescue operations immediately." Vale seemed to struggle with the offer, their skin rippling with what might have been embarrassment. "You understand," "Captain, that our technology is far superior to yours. How could you possibly help us?" Robert allowed himself a small smile. "Sometimes, Commander, the simplest solutions are the best ones. And if there's one thing humans are good at, it's finding simple solutions to complex problems." There was a long pause before Vale responded. "Very well, Captain Robert. We accept your assistance. Please, help us." The first contact between humanity and the Stellar Confederation had begun, not with an exchange of cultural knowledge or technological achievements, but with a rescue mission that would prove humanity's worth to the galaxy. The next few hours aboard the Pathfinder were busy ones. Captain Robert had invited a small team of alien engineers to come aboard his ship, hoping that working together would lead to a solution faster. The sight of the tall, silvery beings walking through human corridors made the crew stop and stare, but there was too much work to be done for anyone to remain distracted for long. Tom Wilson, the Pathfinder's chief engineer, stood in the ship's main engineering room, surrounded by holographic displays that the aliens had brought with them. He scratched his gray beard as he studied the complex quantum equations floating in the air. "So," Tom said, pointing at one of the displays, "your drives work by folding space using quantum fields." The alien engineer, who had asked to be called Blue due to humans' difficulty pronouncing their real name, nodded. Their skin rippled with shades of deep purple, a sign of frustration, the humans had learned. "Yes," Blue said, "but in this region, the quantum fields become unstable. We've never seen anything like it. It's as if the basic laws of physics are different here." Tom walked over to his own computer terminal and pulled up some old files. "Actually," he said with a slight smile, "we might have seen something similar before. Not in space, but in our oceans back on Earth." The aliens gathered around his screen, their skin shifting to lighter shades of curiosity. "About 15 years ago," Tom continued, "we discovered areas in our deep oceans where certain quantum measurements behaved strangely. We couldn't use our more advanced scanning equipment there. Had to fall back on older technology." He pulled up more files, showing diagrams of deep-sea equipment. "We learned to modify our engines to work in those conditions. It wasn't pretty, but it worked." Blue's skin rippled with doubt. "But space is not an ocean." "No," Tom agreed, "but the principle might be the same. Look here." He pointed to his screen. "Your quantum drives are too sensitive. They're trying to make too many precise adjustments. But what if we made them simpler? More like our fusion drives?" The alien engineers looked at each other, their skin cycling through various colors of uncertainty. One of them spoke up. "You want us to make our advanced drives more primitive." "Not primitive," Tom corrected. "Robust. Sometimes the best technology isn't the most advanced. It's the most reliable." Captain Robert, who had been quietly observing from the doorway, stepped forward. "Think of it like this. You're trying to perform brain surgery with quantum precision tools in the middle of an earthquake. Maybe what you need instead is a sturdy pair of hands and basic medical tools." The alien skin shifted to a deep blue of consideration. Blue turned to one of the holographic displays and began making calculations. If we disabled the quantum field modulators and used a simpler propulsion method." Their fingers moved quickly through the equations. Tom walked over and pointed at part of the calculation. "See, if we combine your energy systems with our fusion drive designs, we might be able to create something that works in this region. It won't be as fast as your quantum drives, but it'll get your ships moving again." The engineering room burst into activity. Human and alien engineers worked side by side, combining their knowledge in ways neither species had considered before. They took the elegant quantum drives of the alien ships and stripped them down, rebuilding them with principles that humans had been using for decades. Hours passed. The team created simulation after simulation, each one getting closer to a working solution. Finally, Blue's skin lit up with bright gold, the first time the humans had seen that color. "This might work," they said, looking at the final simulation. It's not elegant. It's not efficient. But it might actually work. Captain Robert smiled. Sometimes the best solutions aren't elegant. They just need to get the job done. Tom was already gathering his tools. We should test it on a small ship first. Something we can easily rescue if things go wrong. The aliens agreed, their skin now showing swirls of hope mixed with nervous anticipation. They had come seeking help from what they thought was a primitive species, only to find that humanity's so-called primitive technology might be exactly what they needed. As the engineering team prepared for their first test, Captain Robert sent a message back to Earth Command. First contact proceeding well. Humanity might just save an alien civilization today, all because we never stopped improving the basics. Ambassador Vale stood in the Pathfinder's conference room, their silvery skin flickering with shades of red and orange, colors the humans had learned meant strong disagreement. The room was filled with both human and alien leaders, all gathered around a holographic display showing the proposed engine modifications. "This is absurd," Vale said, gesturing at the display. "You want us to remove our quantum field generators and replace them with fusion reactors, technology we abandoned centuries ago." Captain Robert remained calm, standing at the head of the conference table. "Ambassador, your ships have been stranded here for 3 days now. Your life support systems are starting to fail. How much longer can your people wait for a more elegant solution?" Another alien leader, whose skin showed deeper shades of purple, spoke up. "The human has a point, Vale. 6 of our ships have already lost primary life support. We're running out of time." Vale's skin rippled with conflicting colors. They turned to Tom, who was standing next to a detailed technical diagram. "Engineer Wilson, explain to me again why you believe this will work." Tom stepped forward, pointing to different parts of the diagram. "The quantum anomaly in this region is disrupting your advanced systems because they're too sensitive. But our fusion drives, they're like a sturdy hammer compared to your quantum precision tools. Sometimes you need a hammer." "A hammer," Vale repeated, their tone somewhere between amusement and offense. "You're comparing our advanced propulsion systems to primitive tools." "With respect, Ambassador," Robert interrupted, "being advanced doesn't always mean being better. We humans learned that lesson many times. When early settlers crossed our oceans, they didn't use motorized ships. They used sails, simple technology that couldn't break down." The conference room grew quiet as Vale walked to one of the windows, looking out at their stranded fleet. Thousands of their people were trapped out there, waiting for a solution. Their skin shifted through various colors before settling on a deep blue. "How long would it take to modify one ship?" they finally asked. Tom consulted his tablet. "With both human and alien engineers working together, maybe 12 hours for the first one. We'll get faster after that. And if it fails, then we try something else," Robert said firmly. "That's what humans do. We keep trying until we find what works." A younger alien engineer named Green stepped forward. They had been working closely with Tom and showed more enthusiasm for the human approach. Their skin glowed with a soft golden hue. "Ambassador," Green said, "I've reviewed their calculations. The human solution is inelegant, yes, but the physics is sound. And more importantly, it's something we can implement with the resources we have." Vale turned back to face the room. "Our people have always prided ourselves on having the most advanced technology in known space. And now we're considering using fusion drives." Their skin showed swirls of what seemed like embarrassment. "Sometimes," Robert said gently, "the greatest wisdom is knowing when to take a step back. We're not asking you to abandon your technology forever, just to try a different approach to get your people to safety." The room fell silent again as Vale considered. The lives of thousands of their people hung in the balance. Finally, their skin shifted to a calm, steady blue. "Very well," they said. "We'll try your solution, but we'll test it on my ship first." Surprised murmurs filled the room. Vale's ship was one of the largest in the fleet, carrying over 3,000 people. Ambassador, Tom said carefully, we should really start with something smaller. Just in case. No, Vale interrupted. If we're going to trust human technology, then we'll trust it completely. I won't ask any of my people to take a risk I won't take myself. Robert nodded, respecting the ambassador's courage. We'll begin modifications immediately. Tom, gather your team. We're going to need our best people on this. As the room emptied, Vale approached Robert privately. Their skin showed a complex pattern of blues and golds. Captain, they said quietly, I hope we haven't misjudged your species. Our lives are in your hands now. Robert met their gaze steadily. We won't let you down, Ambassador. That's another thing about humans. We take our promises very seriously. The inside of Ambassador Vale's ship was unlike anything the human engineers had ever seen. The corridors seemed to flow like liquid metal, and the engine room was a massive chamber filled with crystalline structures that pulsed with soft light. Tom Wilson led his team through this alien environment, carrying tools that looked ancient compared to the advanced technology surrounding them. This is where your quantum drive core connects to the power systems, Tom asked, looking up at a towering crystal structure. Green, their alien engineering partner, moved their hands over a control panel. Yes. The crystals channel quantum energy through the ship. It's perfectly calibrated, or at least it was, before we entered this region of space. Tom walked around the crystal, studying it with his old-fashioned scanner. We'll need to redirect the power flow. Your quantum system is too precise. It's trying to make thousands of tiny adjustments every second. We need something simpler. The human engineering team spread out through the engine room, working alongside their alien counterparts. They had brought parts from the Pathfinder's spare fusion drive, and now they began the delicate process of integrating this primitive technology with the advanced alien systems. Hours passed. The work was challenging, not because it was complicated, but because it required them to think differently. The aliens were used to solving problems by adding more advanced technology. The humans showed them how to solve problems by making things simpler. Look here, Tom explained to a group of alien engineers, pointing at a power coupling. Your system uses quantum entanglement to transfer energy. Very elegant. But in this region, the quantum fields are unstable. So instead, we'll use these copper-based superconductors. Old technology, yes, but reliable. The aliens watched with a mixture of fascination and disbelief as the humans installed what looked like crude metal pipes alongside their crystal matrices. Their skin shifted through various shades of uncertainty. This goes against everything we've learned. One of them said, their skin showing stripes of worry. We've spent centuries making our technology more advanced, more precise. Sometimes, Tom replied, wiping sweat from his forehead. You need to take a step back to move forward. Think of it like walking through a storm. You could build a complex machine to shield you from every raindrop, or you could just use an umbrella. In another part of the engine room, Captain Robert watched the progress with Ambassador Vale. The ambassador's skin had been showing steady patterns of deep blue, concern mixed with hope. Your people work very quickly, Vale observed, even with such basic tools. Robert smiled. We've had lots of practice. On Earth, we still maintain all sorts of technology levels. Sometimes an old diesel engine is more useful than a fusion reactor. Vale's skin rippled with curiosity. Why maintain old technology when you have better options? Because different problems need different solutions, Robert explained. And you never know when you might need to solve an old problem in a new way. The work continued through what would have been night on Earth. The human engineers grew tired, but they kept going, driven by the knowledge that thousands of lives depended on their success. They drank coffee from thermoses, ate energy bars at their workstations, and pressed on. Finally, after 18 hours of non-stop work, Tom stood up from his final inspection. His face was streaked with grease, and his uniform was stained with various alien lubricants, but he was smiling. The hybrid drive system is installed, he announced. It's not pretty, but it should work. We've basically built a fusion-powered space engine inside your quantum drive housing. Vale's skin showed rapid flickers of gold, excitement mixed with nervousness. How can we test it? We start it up, Tom said simply. The fusion drive will power up first, then we'll gradually bring your remaining quantum systems online. The fusion core will provide stable power even if the quantum fields fluctuate. The engine room grew quiet as everyone realized they had reached the moment of truth. Either their strange combination of advanced and primitive technology would work, or, well, Robert said, breaking the silence, there's only one way to find out. Tom, start it up. Tom nodded and reached for the controls, his experienced hands steady despite the pressure. The future of human-alien relations might depend on what happened next, and he was about to start it all with technology that the aliens had considered obsolete just days ago. The massive engine room of Ambassador Vale's ship hummed with a new sound, the deep, steady throb of a human-designed fusion drive, mixing with the high-pitched whine of alien quantum technology. Tom Wilson stood at the main control panel, his hands moving carefully over the controls as he monitored the power levels. Fusion core is stable, he reported, his voice steady despite the tension in the room. Power output at 30% and holding. Vale's skin flickered with nervous patterns as they watched the readings. The quantum crystal matrix is accepting the power feed. No signs of rejection so far. Around them, human and alien engineers worked together at various stations, calling out readings and making small adjustments. The hybrid drive system they had created was unlike anything either species had built before. A combination of humanity's reliable fusion technology and the aliens' advanced quantum systems. Increasing power to 40%, Tom announced. The humming grew louder, and the crystal matrices pulsed with brighter light. Green, who had become the unofficial translator between the two engineering teams, moved between different stations. Their skin showed swirls of gold. Excitement mixed with scientific curiosity. The quantum field stabilizers are holding. The fusion core's power signature is actually helping to anchor our systems against the spatial anomaly. Captain Robert watched from the upper observation deck, communicating with the Pathfinder. All readings from outside the ship are normal. No signs of spatial distortion. 50% power, Tom called out. The ship's structure vibrated slightly as more energy flowed through the new systems. Several alien engineers moved nervously, their skin showing patches of worried purple, but the human engineers remained calm. This is the critical point, Green explained to the others. If the quantum systems were going to fail, it would happen now. Everyone held their breath as the power readings climbed. The crystals pulsed faster, their light synchronizing with the rhythm of the fusion core. For a moment, the vibrations increased, and Vale's skin turned almost white with concern. Then suddenly, everything stabilized. The vibrations settled into a steady hum, and the crystal matrix glowed with a constant, healthy light. Power flow is stable at 50%, Tom announced, allowing himself a small smile. The hybrid system is working. Ambassador Vale, your ship has power again. Vale's skin rippled with disbelief and hope. Can we try to move? Tom looked at Robert, who nodded. Start with thrusters only, Tom said. Let's take it slow. The bridge crew, a mixture of humans and aliens, began the startup sequence. Outside, the massive alien ship's maneuvering thrusters came to life for the first time in days. Small jets of blue flame pushed against the darkness of space. Thrusters responding normally, reported the alien pilot, their skin showing excited gold patterns. Main drive is ready? Yes, ready for activation. Robert stepped forward. Take us forward, very slowly, just enough to clear the anomaly field. The hybrid drive engaged with a deep pulse that ran through the entire ship. On the main viewport, the stars began to move. The ship was flying again. It's working, Green said, their skin glowing bright gold. We're moving, and the quantum readings are staying stable. Vale turned to Tom and Robert, their skin showing a complex pattern of colors that the humans had never seen before. "You did it," they said quietly. "You actually did it. With technology we thought was obsolete." Tom checked his readings one final time. "The fusion core is handling most of the work, using your quantum systems only for fine adjustments. It's not as fast as your original drive. But it works," Vale finished. "And right now, that's all that matters." Robert smiled. "Now that we know it works, we can start modifying the rest of your fleet. We'll need to call in more engineers from Earth, but—" "No," Vale interrupted, their skin shifting to a determined blue. "Your people have shown us how to do this. It's time we learn to work with simpler solutions." They turned to the alien engineers. "We will do this ourselves, with the humans supervising." It's time we remembered that newer doesn't always mean better. The room filled with mixed colors as the alien crew realized what this meant. They would have to learn to work with technology they had dismissed as primitive. But as they watched their ship moving smoothly through space, not one of them complained. Humanity's primitive solution had succeeded where advanced technology had failed, and in doing so, had taught their new alien allies a valuable lesson about the true meaning of progress. The next 3 days aboard the stranded alien fleet were a blur of constant activity. After the successful test of the hybrid drive system on Ambassador Vale's ship, the real work began. 341 ships still needed the same modifications, and time was running out. Life support failing on the Star Weaver called out Mike from his communications station on the Pathfinder. "They're down to 6 hours of air." Captain Robert looked at the massive holographic display showing the fleet's status. Red warning indicators were spreading across more ships every hour. "Move them up the priority list," he ordered. "Tom, how many teams do we have ready?" Tom, who hadn't slept more than 4 hours at a time since the operation began, checked his tablet. 20 teams now. The aliens learned the modification process faster than we expected. They're already working independently on the smaller ships. The rescue operation had turned into a massive joint effort. Earth had sent every available engineer they could spare, but it was the aliens themselves who provided the most help. Once they understood the principles behind a hybrid drive system, they threw themselves into the work with incredible dedication. "Star Weaver team reporting in," Mike announced. "They've started the modifications. Estimated completion time, 5 hours." Robert nodded. They were cutting it close, but that was nothing new. The past 3 days had been full of close calls and last-minute saves. The human engineers had taught the aliens something they'd known for generations: how to work under pressure with limited resources. In the engine room of a medium-sized alien vessel, Green worked alongside a human engineer named Bill. Their skin glowed with steady gold as they carefully installed the fusion core components. "I never thought I'd say this," Green said, making a final adjustment, "but there's something beautiful about this technology. It's honest, direct." Bill smiled as he checked the power connections. "That's what we love about it. You can see how everything works. No quantum uncertainty, just simple cause and effect." Across the fleet, similar scenes played out. Human and alien engineers worked side by side, sharing knowledge, solving problems, and racing against failing life support systems. When standard parts ran out, they improvised. When tools broke, they made new ones. When problems arose, they found solutions. On the Pathfinder's bridge, Robert watched another indicator turn from red to green as another ship's hybrid drive came online. Vale stood beside him, their skin showing steady patterns of blue and gold. "Your people continue to surprise us," Vale said. "Not just with your technology, but with your attitude. You treat every problem as a challenge to overcome, not a disaster to fear." Robert was about to respond when Mike's voice cut through the bridge. "Captain, the Crystal Dawn's life support just failed completely. They have 300 people aboard." "Distance to nearest operational ship?" Robert asked quickly. 2,000 kilometers, sir. Too far for normal rescue operations. Robert looked at the holographic display, his mind racing. Tom, what's the status of their hybrid drive installation? Nearly complete. Tom's voice came through the comm. But we need another hour for safety checks. They don't have an hour. Robert turned to Vale. Ambassador, I need your permission to try something risky. Vale's skin showed swirls of concern, but they nodded. Whatever you need. Tom, skip the safety checks. Power up the drive now. We'll run the checks after everyone's safe. There was a pause before Tom responded. Yes, sir. But we'll need to run it at lower power. Maybe 20%. That's all we need. Just enough to reach the nearest operational ship. Robert turned to the main viewport, watching as the Crystal Dawn's engines flickered to life. The next 15 minutes were tense as the Crystal Dawn limped through space on its barely tested drive system. But it moved, slowly but surely, until it reached safety. 300 lives saved because humans weren't afraid to take calculated risks. Update from Earth. Sir, Mike reported. More engineers are on the way. They say we'll have enough teams to finish the entire fleet in the next 48 hours. Robert looked at Vale, who was watching the operation with constantly shifting skin colors. We're going to save everyone, he said firmly. That's what humans do. We find a way. Vale's skin settled into a calm blue. Yes, they said quietly. We're beginning to understand that about your species. 1 week after receiving the first distress call, Captain Roberts stood on the observation deck of the Pathfinder, watching as the last of the alien ships activated its hybrid drive system. The vast fleet hung in space before him, no longer stranded, but transformed. Each ship now carried a piece of human technology at its heart, a symbol of how two civilizations had come together to solve an impossible problem. The final ship reports all systems functioning normally. Mike announced from his station. Every vessel in the fleet is now operational. A small smile crossed Robert's face. They had done it. 342 ships, over 100,000 alien lives, all saved because humanity hadn't abandoned its primitive technology. Ambassador Vale appeared beside him, their skin glowing with a warm golden color that the humans had learned meant deep satisfaction. Captain, they said, my people owe yours a debt we can never fully repay. No debt needed, Ambassador, Robert replied. We helped because it was the right thing to do. Vale's skin rippled with amusement. Always so modest, you humans. But this experience has taught us something valuable. Something that will change how the Stellar Confederation views technology and your species. The observation deck's door opened, and Tom entered, followed by Green and several other alien engineers. They had all been working nonstop for the past week, and their exhaustion showed. But their faces and skin colors, for the aliens, reflected pride in what they had accomplished. The modified drives are actually working better than we expected, Tom reported. The aliens have already started making improvements to the design. They're talking about developing a new class of hybrid ships that combine both our technologies. Green's skin flickered with excitement. We were wrong to dismiss simpler technology as primitive. The combination of human reliability and our quantum systems, the possibilities are endless. Vale nodded, their skin shifting to a formal shade of blue. Which brings me to why I'm here, Captain. The Stellar Confederation's Council has been in contact with Earth's leaders. We would like to formally invite humanity to join our confederation. Robert raised an eyebrow. I thought that was already being discussed before all this happened. It was, Vale admitted, their skin showing hints of embarrassment. But at that time, we were planning to offer you junior member status. Now we're offering full partnership, equal standing with the founding races. The humans in the room looked at each other in surprise. Tom whistled softly. That's quite a promotion, he said. Vale's skin rippled with patterns that suggested both amusement and seriousness. This crisis showed us that technological advancement isn't just about making things more complex. Sometimes the best solutions come from maintaining and improving upon proven ideas. Your people reminded us of that. The ambassador moved to the viewport, gesturing at the fleet. "Look at what we accomplished together. Each of these ships now represents the best of both our civilizations. Imagine what else we could achieve through true partnership." Robert looked out at the fleet, thinking about everything that had happened. A week ago, these advanced aliens had seen humans as barely worthy of notice. Now, they were offering equal partnership in their confederation. "There will be a formal ceremony, of course," Vale continued. "The Council wants to recognize the human engineers who led this rescue operation. Especially you, Tom. Your initial idea saved all our lives." Tom rubbed the back of his neck, embarrassed. "I just did what any engineer would do. Looked for the simplest solution that would work." "And that," Vale said, their skin glowing brightly, "is exactly why we need your people. You keep us grounded in practical solutions while we reach for the stars." Robert turned from the viewport to face Vale. "So what happens now?" "Now." Vale's skin showed swirls of bright, hopeful colors. "Now we travel together. Your ship will accompany us to the Confederation capital. There's so much we can learn from each other. This rescue wasn't an ending. It was just the beginning." As the Pathfinder prepared to depart with the alien fleet, Robert looked one last time at the region of space that had caused so much trouble. What had started as a simple rescue mission had turned into humanity's greatest adventure. They had proven themselves not through advanced technology, but through their creativity, determination, and willingness to find simple solutions to complex problems. The age of human isolation was over. They were about to take their place among the stars, not as junior partners, but as equals. And they had earned it not by trying to match the aliens' advanced technology, but by staying true to their own practical problem-solving nature.